Welcome everyone to the Lander County Commission meeting, May 9th, 2024, at the Lander County Courthouse, 50 State Route 305, Battle Mountain, Nevada. It's also via teleconference at the Austin Courthouse at 122 Main Street in Austin, Nevada. The auto conference, you can go to the meeting, barring any technical difficulties. You can call in at 1-866-899-4679 or 1-312-517-3119. And the website is www.gotomeeting.com. All times on this agenda are approximate. Consideration of items may require more or less time than scheduled. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The public body may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and the public body may remove at any item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to the item on the agenda at any time. Public comment is designated for discussion only. The public has the opportunity to address the commission on any matter not appearing on the agenda. However, no action may be taken on any matter raised until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item on which action may be taken. Additionally, public comment may be heard on any item listed on the agenda. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing and or attend and make comments on the agenda items at the Lander County Commissioners Board meeting. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the Commission. Please note that the public body may interrupt the open meeting and exclude the public for the purposes of having an attorney-client discussion of potential or existing litigation pursuant to NRS 241.015 3B2. I'll call this meeting to order. Bert, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence. So we'll go through Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 to 1:15. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. Dee?
I went to the NACO meeting and Mark Amadei was there and he gave a report on what they're doing to different projects and stuff going on in the state, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but Mark's office is very open to any issues that we have and is more than willing to do everything they can to help. One of the big issues they're working on right now is the wild horse issue.
Kathy? I don't have any myself. We'll go on to staff reports or meetings, conferences, or seminars attended. Bert?
Good morning, Commission. I got a few things here for us. I have a public comment I'm going to read into the record, and but before that, so the Forest Service is working currently with the BLM to try to get their language to parallel the RMPP language that we currently have for the land transfer that was in the lands bill. So that's in the attorney's hands, and we don't know when we will get that back. They take their time, so it could be a little bit, but we're hoping here in the next 3 months that we have some answers and things moving forward, because I know that they're, at least in Amadei's office and Rosen's office, are both pushing pretty hard for us on that, so we appreciate that. Battle Mountain Hydrogen's agreement that I told you guys to be back before you, one of these meetings is going back and forth between our attorneys and their attorneys, so trying to get some proposed language to bring back before you guys to consider, and then we'll go from there. So as soon as that comes out of the attorney's hands, we'll have that back to you guys as well. On the mosquitoes and the black flies, we're still monitoring the mosquitoes and fogging in the mornings, obviously before the bees are out, and trying to do that, but we're waiting to see for the numbers to come up before we bring a plane in to make it worth our while for the cost. the Austin realignment. They will be here for signatures here in Battle Mountain at the courthouse May 23rd from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. So anybody that can show up and get signed for the property up there, that would be great, and we'll continue advertising that. As far as our airports, we are putting out requests for proposals because you guys know that our previous contract with the contractor was canceled on the 30th. So the people that were out there running it are continuing to run it. We're cutting them a check until we get our proposals back, and that's based off of the fuel cells and the contract that was previously in place. We took that and split it down the middle, so it would be what we're paying them would be what we would have been paying anyway. And then the last thing, it's on the agenda, but we did put up some don't feed the cat signs, and kind of some backstory to that is if we're going to trap and spay and neuter them, we need, if you guys know of anybody that is feeding the cats over there, for them not, so we can actually convince them to go into our traps. So we can trap, spay, and neuter. And then with that, if I'll read a public comment that was mailed in to us. And greeting Lander County Commissioners. Battle Mountain residents, Charlotte Lowe for the record. I have been watching your YouTube meetings for several years, and I was in agreement with getting outside exercise and mental health during a previous meeting. I have a suggestion to improve our community's health and safety and would love to see it on a future agenda. Each spring, as the warm weather arrives, I see youth and adults riding bicycles, pedal bikes. I live off Presidential and Hilltop Road, and I do not believe either of these two roads are bicycle friendly. The roads are only wide enough for 2 vehicles, with sunshine, weeds, and grasses growing, preventing a breakdown area or room for bicycles to travel safely. I share the road and move over when necessary, but not every driver follows a simple travel rule. I believe our main thoroughfares would benefit from extending the pavement. This will allow for a safer travel for all, not just cars and trucks, and allow for room to change a blowout or a tire. Each spring, as the weather warms and arrives, I see youth and adults riding bicycles, pedal bikes. Bicycling is an amazing thing. According to Better Health, you feel younger and actually get more years of use from your muscles, joints, and organs simply by using your highly capable self to pedal around instead of sitting statue-like behind the steering wheel. In fact, cycling might just be the closest thing you can find to a genuine fountain of youth. Pedaling only 10 miles, a 140-pound cyclist burns 400 calories an hour. And studies prove that biking a few times a week reduces blood pressure and stress while increasing your energy and elevating your overall mood. The added bonus, bicycles are a cost-effective way of transporting yourself without using fuel. I hope you support this idea as an investment in our community, especially for those who would like to cycle using Hilltop and Presidential or Old 8A to access in-town amenities or vice versa. Thank you for your consideration, Charlotte. And that's all I have.
Okay. Staff reports?
I have a question. Are you guys going to spray in Austin and Kingston this year again too?
You bet, and we're and I apologize. We're also fogging down there as well currently. So.
Okay, next up is first off, public comment for on agendized items only. Do you have any public comment?
Hi, Denise Fortune for the record. And I want to put on the record, I am here as a Lander County resident and Lander County employee of 100 years. I am not here as an elected official. I'm here today to just wonder why I was unable to, I asked for something to be on the agenda back in April, almost a month ago. After doing some research, after having a conversation with a Lander County commissioner, I did some research. I was just asking the question. There was an item brought before the board April of 23, May of 23, August of 23, September 23, November 23, about the possibility of retiree insurance. And at the last meeting in November of 2023, the commissioners, and I don't know, I'm not speaking for any of the commissioners, but I believe a lot of them took notice, I don't know if in a true way or just how they said it or how it was meant, that it was something that could not be discussed at a commissioners meeting. So there was no motion, there was no nothing, nothing happened with it. So I had been watching the commissioners' agendas to see if anything was ever going to be brought back on it, and it was not. So I called a commissioner and said, hey, whatever happened with that? And they said they could not discuss it. So then I was directed to do my own investigation, which I did. I had conversations with somebody at the Attorney General's office and Landry County District Attorney, Mr. Schaefer. And after realizing that it could be brought before the commissioners can discuss it, vote on it, I asked for an agenda request. I submitted that request on April 16th. I did not hear anything. I was able to put it on the last meeting, but I was out of town, which is why I asked for it to be on today's meeting. A month ago, I got an email at 6 o'clock in the morning last Friday from the county manager stating it is not on the agenda. He did not put it on the agenda because this had been talked about and talked about and talked about. And I get that, beating a dead horse. I was just looking for, make a decision just so that the Landry County employees know what's going on, not just leave it as crickets. Some people were directed to do more research, get some numbers, get some stuff figured out. I've done that. Other employees, longtime employees for this county have done that. We've got all kinds of information. Just wanted to bring it back and say, hey, you can have a conversation. Can we have a conversation? Whether you pass it or not, and I'm saying right now on the record, I don't care, pass it or not. But I think long-time Landry County employees, 30 plus years, is sitting right here. It was brought up. I think we need a definitive answer. We'll move on, but I think it should be brought back up. I did receive that email at 6:04 in the morning. I then had conversations with a couple other Landry County employees and responded back at 9:38 in the morning saying, I do have additional information. I'm not just beating a dead horse. I have information to the commissioners, a signed letter saying you absolutely can discuss this and vote on it. And I do have information, and I am requesting again to be on next week's agenda. Okay, that was Friday. The agenda was not submitted to the Landry County Clerk's office for posting until 4:54 p.m. That night, 4:54 p.m. 8 hours difference, plenty of time to still get it on the agenda. The agenda came out, it was sent to me immediately. I was not on the agenda. That is why I am here today. I am a long-time Landry County employee, and if I can't get on the agenda to appear before the commissioners, it scares me what the public isn't allowed to be bringing in front of the commissioners. I didn't open this door. I never asked for it to be on any agenda, not the last 5 agendas. But then once it was like, okay, cool. There's a lot of us that have a lot of years in this county, not as many as there used to be. Let's just have a conversation. And I think we, as employees, longtime employees for this county, have the right to have a conversation about it, regardless of the outcome. So that's why I'm here. I should be on the agenda. I am not on the agenda. So I'm asking you guys to please make sure I and other involved people that want to know what is going on with this, even if it's nothing, to have the chance to be put on the agenda and at least listen to your longtime employees or future employees that this may benefit. 33 years in the county at the end of this year, 33 years in the county. I believe I've earned the right to at least have a conversation. And I know there's other people that feel that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Commissioner, I would like to address some of that. It is public comment, so it's not for decision, but we can address comments. So I would like to first, for context, read my email that was sent to our judge, and then also make the commission and the community aware that the entire time I've been in the position, I can think of about 5 items at best. I don't even think there's 5 that we've ever said, no, we aren't putting on the agenda. They've either been for reasons that I state in this email, or because it would put the commission in a spot where they could get in trouble. And so my email to our judge is, good morning, Judge. I apologize for not swinging in yesterday and seeing you about this, but I wanted to be sure to communicate with you before the weekend. On the agenda, request for retiree insurance, seeing it's been on the agenda 5 times previously, I left it off. Unless something has changed, I can't see putting this in front of the commission again. I truly mean no disrespect by doing so. I just need a reason that would justify it being back on. With many items in the past, we have denied them if they have been previously presented and come back with no additional information. As always, I look forward to seeing you and future discussion. The email that I received back was, good morning. Yes, I do have new information I will address with the commission, and thank you. I request to be put on the agenda. That was the communication that went forward. There's still no further statement. I spoke with the DA. The DA said that this is something that should be looked at. There was nothing else provided. So I said, well, we'll have this discussion when we get there. That'll be probably the start of the next week. And then we'll venture back down this road and see what they're to bring back before you guys. But we try not to, for the sake of time, and for everybody to bring items back over and over and over again until we get an approval. It's I don't think that that's common practice anywhere. So I just want the commission to know and the community to know that this isn't us denying people or how hard it is for the public to get on. I think that them are pretty broad sweeping statements that don't really reflect the context of what's there. It's been in front of you guys 5 times. It sounds like only 3 times it's been voted on. 2 other times it sounds like maybe there was some confusion on whether you guys had the authority to or not. So knowing that our judge has additional information, if we can get that additional information, we'll put it in the backup, give it to our commission, and let them consider it. That's all.
And the last time, Denise, I went away with the understanding that it was discussed and it died due to lack of motion.
And due to the commissioners, certain commissioners, and I'm not speaking for all of you, the commissioner that I spoke with, there were commissioners that were under the impression that they could not talk about it. Not that they didn't want to.
Okay.
They were worried for ethical reasons and things like
I
that.
remember.
And I was directed to do more
Okay.
looking into it, so I did.
Well, and the phone call came to me and I wouldn't talk about it because was directed not to talk about it. But one thing I would like to see is if we could get, just the bottom line, get the agenda to have an item, if you can do that, have the district attorney send the attorney general a letter asking what it is we can or can't do, and then we have an answer, and there's no back and forth if that can be done, however that is able to be done. Then that doesn't leave in the eyes that something's being covered up or hidden. I think that, leave it at that and get see what the Attorney General's opinion is on the item.
Can I make a comment on that? Am I allowed
I
to?
don't know how far.
We'll put it on this upcoming agenda, and we can get into the discussion side of this. And then, but we hear what you're saying, and we'll reach out and see what we can get.
Okay.
Is there any other public comment?
Tom Kirkowski for the record. I just wanted to address the community cleanup. I see on Facebook that the dumpsters are going to be placed on June 7th through the 14th, but I didn't see anything that said, hey, if you already got the trash loaded up, take it to the dump. It's free. Why are we not bringing this forward, letting people know that it doesn't cost, instead of dumping it in the desert, whatever, take it to the dump. So.
Real quick, Tom, on the page I got, it did say, there was a reminder, was the first one that said the dump is absolutely free. There was little blocks on the one I had. Mine was on my phone, so maybe there's several out there.
My flip phone doesn't quite work as well.
Oh,
But I appreciate it.
different Facebook pages.
I'll both address that real quick. I'll let Bert.
No, we'll just
just make sure that that's on there. We're good.
Okay, thank you guys. I'll make
We'll try to get it to even show up on flip phones.
Good morning, everybody. Do I have to turn this thing on? No. Okay. Michelle Young, LEPSI. I'm your chairperson for LEPSI. If you guys are aware, Lander County, Humboldt County, and Pershing County are in a partnership for a tri-county hazard mitigation plan. When I was made chairman for LEPSI in 2020, it was right at the end of that 5-year part. So I remember working through some of the statistics part of that plan and then bringing it to the commissioners for approval on our side of county, because all 3 counties had to approve it. And then getting the final product, I sent it to the county, sent one to Robert and Ron at the Sheriff's Department, and printed one for LEPSI. It's in a binder. At the time that we did that, I was told that 5 years later, it would be Lander County's turn. So that one concluded in October of 2021. So I figured it would be Lander County's turn in 2026. I had no idea how long the process was going to take. I have no idea how you get started on it. So late Tuesday afternoon, I got an email thread from Sean Burke, who is the emergency manager for Pershing County, Carol Ann, don't know what her last name is, the emergency manager for Humboldt County, and a lady named Janelle Woodward from DEM, that it's time to approach funding for this and start the process because it has to be finished by October 23rd or October of 2026. So again, I've asked for an agenda request. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, hopefully, with more information about the time frame of what it's going to take, a funding request to fund it. I'm probably not going to have a definitive cost for you because if we have to find an engineering company to do it, I'm not going to be able to do that in 2 weeks with a cost. So that might be somewhere down the road. But I'm hoping that Robert and I can gather enough information to at least give you a ballpark plan and for us to get started, because I don't know how long it's going to take. I do know that every part of it that they update has to go to Pershing County for approval on their end, Humboldt County for approval on their end, and Lander County for approval on their end, and then they start working on something else. So as far as I know, it's a back and forth thing for a long time. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I'll be coming back to you with the request to get it started and a request for funding of whatever that's going to look like. And any other questions you might have that I probably don't have the answers for.
Yeah, you do. When you don't do the acronyms, because they don't know what DEM is, the majority of people, so Department of Emergency Management.
Correct.
So they understand the broad, what a big issue that is. So, that's my only, thing is instead of using acronyms, actually say what that department is,
Okay.
because it's a very big deal. And it's a very, from someone who had to do LEPSI for many, many years, this is a very big deal, and it's a very, very complicated, and it's an underpaid, far underpaid job as a volunteer-ish, to do this job, and you are appreciated, Michelle, because it is a very complicated, and it is when you have an emergency, like a derailment of a train or something with hazards bad, everybody's running around and doesn't realize when you finally have somebody that stands up, okay, this is what we're supposed to do, versus not, the derailment of that train. Back east, nobody knew. It took 3 days for somebody to get out there that knew what to do to help try to contain that mess. So what she does and works on, that's part of that. And Ron is the emergency manager for the county, if no one knew that. So it really is a lot bigger than just the acronym of what she's saying, so it is a very big deal. So I wanted to make
Okay, so
sure
to clear that up-
Commissioners, if we could, and I don't mean to cut off public comment, but we missed it already, and probably the sooner we get to it, the less, but we had a public hearing set at 9:10, and we have skipped by that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
good
do
enough.
apologize for missing that, but
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
1.2.
Do I have to do anything different there? Just read it? Liz, do I just read it then?
Well, I think we have to go in and approve the consent section first before we can move to 1.2. So if you can read the consent section and move forward with that, and then we'll
Okay.
get that
And-
approved, so then we can run to 1.2.
Next up is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners within one action without extensive discussion. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County Clerk's office for viewing, and copies are available at a nominal charge. Item 1 is approval of May 9th, 2024 agenda notice. Item 2 is approval of the May 25th, 2024 budget workshop meeting minutes. Action 3 is approval of March 26th, 2024 budget workshop meeting minutes. Number 4 is approval of March 28th, 2024 meeting minutes. 5 is approval of April 11th, 2024 meeting minutes. 6 is the approval of April 25th, 2024 meeting minutes. And 7 is approval of payroll changes requests.
So we only have 1, 2, and what's the last one?
1 through 4 we have.
We have 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, I have my minutes right here. Just- So,
So I have a motion to approve consent agenda items
1 through 4.
1 through 4.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up is, we'll move to the public hearing.
Yeah, we got
Review,
minutes.
Yeah. The minutes should have been included.
Okay. So
oh, I
amended.
missed the meeting minutes,
Yeah.
March 25th and 26th.
Did we receive both of those? I know we got the 25th, but did you get the
Yes.
26th?
We got 'em. Oh, we did on the 1 through 4, so we're good.
We covered, do I need to put it back up?
You're good.
Okay.
There was a motion for 1 through 4.
Okay. Next is the public hearing, review and consideration for possible action on zone change application number 24-0012 filed by Robert and Tammy Duval to change the zoning on APN 002-330-11 from C1 commercial to C2 general commercial to allow for outdoor storage and sales in conjunction with farm and feed retail store. The subject property is located on the north corner of the intersection on Carson Road in Nevada State Route 305, 101 Carson Road, Battle Mountain, Nevada 89820. This was approved at the April 17, 2024 Planning Commission meeting with no additional conditions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. So this item was approved at the April 17th Planning Commission meeting. The Duvals purchased the plaza over here and moved their feed store. They had an area for outdoor storage, and the current zone doesn't allow for that. So they would like to change it to C2 to allow for that outdoor storage.
So with the zoning changes coming, many of our discussions have talked about the master plan. Is this something that's covered in the master plan?
Yeah. So the master plan doesn't specify between C1 and C2. It's just a commercial, and the commercial zone supports either C1 or C2, so it does fit within the master plan.
So there's no control, do I understand what you said? There won't be no control on what could be stored outside of the business in any situation, if it's this business or others. There's nothing in the master plan to say this is, I mean, is it gonna go to junk cars or?
So I don't think the master plan would be the document we'd want to look at the code to see what actually has teeth on it. So it'd be, what is compliant within the code. And Shelby would have to speak more to that than I could, but that would be the,
You also have limits on what you can do under state law. There are various things that would apply. Like if you were gonna start opening a junkyard, you'd have to actually get a license for a junkyard. Trust me, I know I represented somebody who was trying to get around that, and it didn't work.
So I got one more question. So off of that, what they're asking for, is there ordinances on what can be stored out there? Are we gonna talk, I mean, sorry, down the road, are the residents gonna be coming, say, because we're gonna start selling baby goats, or, I mean, I have them questions. I mean, is there a guidance form to say, is it you're limited to hay and that, and gates or that.
So
That's a big
we,
area.
we don't have any limits like that, but if you would like to set some limits, we can add some conditions to the zone change that says they're limited to hay, feed, fencing supplies. I think that's kind of what they have there now. We can restrict them from selling live animals out there, if that's something that you want to do. But at this time, the C2 zoning district just allows for outdoor storage and sales. It doesn't specify, specific items.
I personally would like that piece,
Okay.
but that's me.
Well, I'll make a motion as permitted with adding on the no sale of live animals on the, out there outside. Is that said well enough?
That would be a condition, yeah.
Okay, that condition.
I think we should see, Kathy, should we see how it's written and everything, or just?
I know, I
drawn
think
up?
that it will work just fine, just as long as you say that you put that condition on there, that they're not to sell, live animals, as their storage outside, not to have live animals.
Yeah, there must be some way you can term it so they can still sell like chicks and stuff.
Yeah,
'cause
that's-
all
that's
of
I
those-
think that's
inside.
inside.
Yeah, it's inside.
That's
inside,
inside, so yeah. it's
So
not
as
a
long
word.
as we limit that to outdoor, no,
No outdoor.
no, storage or sales of
Outdoor
animals outdoor,
Yeah.
something to that
So-
nature. Does that address your concerns? Or
I'd
no?
rather see it written, myself, I worry about grain piles and everything else, but I come from a different area, so I've seen the bad.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
Call for the question.
so we got so I got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. So do I come out of the public hearing back to,
To one.
and
Thank you.
off of that, I'd be fine with once it comes back with some documentation to it. We could,
Well, I think it
It
passed.
passed.
It passed.
As is.
oh, did it pass?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a majority of the
With
voting,
that-
of the
with that
voting
caveat.
quorum that's present.
Oh, okay.
It passed with that caveat that it had.
The condition of, no live animals sold outside, is my understanding, was a condition.
Well, I voted no. Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the payment of bills and payments of bills ratified, of the bills ratified.
Okay, nobody has to hold anything out? Okay, I motion that we pay the bills.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is review, consideration, possible action on parcel map number 24-0004 filed by Jay Wintle on behalf of Faded Sage Properties LLC to divide APN 010-280-46, a 21.14 acre parcel into 4 parcels being 5.21 acres, 2.55 acres, 3.03 acres, and 9.09 acres within an A1-1 acre agricultural zoning district. This subject property is located on the northwest corner of intersection of 28th Street and Yellow Brick Road, Battle Mountain, Nevada. This was approved at the April 17th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting with the following conditions. The parcel map be recorded with the Lander County Recorder's Office within 1 year of approval by the Lander County Board of Commissioners.
Good morning, Commissioners, again. So this is an application from Mr. Wintle to divide a piece of land he has over here off of Painted Sage. into 4 parcels like it says. So staff originally wanted the applicant to install a water line to provide water service to the 2 parcels that are not adjacent to the existing water line. The Planning Commission did remove that condition, just so you're aware, and then they recommended conditional approval with the condition that was read into the record previously.
Alright,
Any
I'll make-
discussion?
I don't have any.
Okay.
I'll make
Motion?
a motion, as presented. To accept as presented.
I'll second it.
A motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve or disapprove the site license agreement between Lander County and Nevada LLC for placement of an antenna on the Lander County Courthouse Administration Building and/or on the Battle Mountain Library Building in the amount of $100 per antenna.
You want me to approach?
Yeah.
Please state your name for the record.
Yes, I'm Max Herf with Nevada.
Probably say it closer to the mic so
Oh,
it's
sorry.
on record.
Okay. Max Herf with Nevada. Yes, so I proposed for a site license agreement for our backhaul connection or uplink for either the, preferably the top of the public library or county library or the courthouse. One of the 2 options would be fine. This allows us to beam from there because there's fiber lines right now. The very few fiber lines in town happen to be going through some of these county facilities. We then hook up a circuit to there. We set up a simple dish on the top of a roof, one of those 2 buildings, and then we can beam it to our tower that's being constructed, and then that way we can provide quality internet to the community.
And does the district attorney, everything's fine with the district attorney and the contract?
Yes, I point out that on a termination, a lot of times we like it only 30 days, but I'm basically okay with anything between 30 and 90 days in most cases. And I suppose in wintertime, it might be hard for him to get that antenna off of there. So 90 days seems reasonable to me. That's what this one calls for. That's number 8 on the agreement if you look at it. 8A actually.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
I will, make a motion, as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the contract for services of Community Health Medical Director between Lander County and Dr. Victor K. Knudsen, MD, effective June 1st, 2024, until a successor has been appointed and in the amount not to exceed $7,250 per month.
Hey, Mike, can we take a 5-minute break, because I locked myself out of everything?
Okay. I'll call a 5-minute break.
Yeah, somebody can please come up here and help me get back in.
This conference will now be recorded.
Call the meeting back to order. For discussion of possible action to approve, disapprove the contract for services of Community Health Medical Director between Lander County and Dr. Victor K. Knudsen, MD, effective June 1st, 2024, until a successor has been appointed and in the amount not to exceed $7,250 per month. You have discussion on it?
So he oversees the ambulance department too? Or is he
No.
one that signs off on that, or is there?
No, we have a separate doctor that is over the ambulance and signs off on all of that, and he actually works over here at the hospital. That's Dr. Herman. Dr. Knudsen is over here at Public Health.
And he's only here 3 days a week, Kathy said, or
Yep.
3 days a month?
A month. I believe 5 a month is what's in the contract.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions?
Any
The only
issues?
thing I'd point out, we don't have the usual 30-day, but you can terminate it. As I understand, this is basically temporary until you get a nurse practitioner on board. And all you have to do is get that done, and it automatically terminates the agreement.
Okay.
So you kind of have an out any time you can get somebody to replace him.
I'll make a motion as presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Next up for discussion of possible action to approve, disapprove the temporary road closure permit for the annual 4th of July parade hosted by the VFW starting on Sonoma Street. Turn left onto Broad Street, turn left onto 8th Street, then turn right onto Altenburg. The parade will end at Elquist Park. The parade will take place on the July 4th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Any discussion? Questions? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion as presented.
I'll second. Motion a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is for discussion of possible action to approve or disapprove the following bid for Lander County paving project PWP number LA-2024-30 Clark Boulevard. The Honeywell Construction base bid $224,777.43 with an alternate bid amount of $45,240 for a total bid in the amount not to exceed $270,017.43. Tony?
Good morning, Commission. This is the bid for Clark Boulevard. The alternate bid is for putting culverts in at the approaches and then paving over the approaches, making it look way nicer. And I think that's the way we're going to start moving on most of our projects. We'll make sure, because without the approaches, it starts tearing up the edge of the asphalt eventually and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Any questions, discussion?
How many miles is it? I'm looking, I don't see it.
oh, this is a short little road. It's not even a quarter of a mile. So
Okay. All right.
it might be a quarter. I can't remember
Yeah,
the
it's- I
exact
think
footage
it's at
right
least
out
a
of
quarter
hand.
of a mile.
Anything else?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion as presented.
Second?
I'll
Are you
second.
including the alternate in that?
Yes, with the alternate.
Do you seconded it?
Yeah, I seconded it. One thing we're not doing is we're not asking for public comment.
Sorry.
Do you have to ask for public
You don't
comment?
have
You don't have to? Okay.
I will. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the following bid for Lander County paving project PWP number LA-2024-331 Arabian Road. One Honeywell Construction base bid, $649,979.08 with an alternate bid amount of $196,803.75 for a total bid in the amount not to exceed $856,782.83.
So I have a question, make sure I'm understanding, for the, when this originally went out, it was for the 649, but we're asking to add in the 196 because we want the culverts put in, so we're the one asking for the alternate bid, correct?
Yes.
All right, that's what I just wanted to
Yep.
make sure I was, all right.
How many culverts are we putting in on this one?
Oh, geez, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe 6.
So quite a few more.
Yeah, there's quite a few more on this.
And how many, I'm not gonna ask miles, I'm gonna say feet. How many feet is this one?
This one's almost a mile long,
Is it? Okay,
almost.
yeah.
Well, 3/4 of a mile, I believe.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the, alternate bid.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donnie. Next up for discussion and possible action to set fire restrictions, a burn ban, and accompanying dates for all of Lander County.
Does this affect fire pits?
No, warming fires and other, so the facts of it are, we have no code to enforce anything. So this is a recommendation, to not burn, but, warming fires and other things like that are permitted, barbecues, outside, things like that. The reason we put this on, we put it on every year to kind of support the BLM's burn ban when they put it in place, which is in your backup, so we're trying to follow suit with that. But we never have actually put a code in that would put teeth to a burn ban in Lander County.
Okay, because there's so many people that have fire pits nowadays, so I've always wondered that.
I'll make a motion that we accept as presented.
I'll second it.
Do you guys want it to accompany the dates of the BLMs?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove renewal of contract between Lander County and the State of Nevada Department of Administration Public Works Division and Nevada Highway Patrol to lease the office space upstairs in the courthouse located at 50 State Route 305, Battle Mountain, Nevada, effective September 1st, 2024 to August 31st, 2029, in the amount of $375 per month. Any discussion?
I reviewed the contract. It's advantageous to the state, as you might expect. I let the county manager know that of some of those possible issues. The distinction, though, is it's highway patrol, and we've already had them here for several years. There hasn't been any problems, and the state is unlikely to want to negotiate, especially with just one small county with all of the things they do. It's their standard contract. So with all of that being kept in mind, like mainly that we don't have a quick out on it, which is one of my cardinal rules, because if anything goes wrong, you can just get rid of it. But the fact is, we had a break-in at the old courthouse. When was that? About 2005? Somewhere around there. And that's not likely to happen here because they're here 24/7. So they're an advantage. Of course, that's a slight disadvantage in that you've got to keep this place heated around the clock, or at least part of it. But it has worked out so far, from what I can tell, unless somebody's got other information. And it just seems like a no-brainer. Go ahead and approve it. They've been fine, and you get $375 per month. That should more than cover your added heating costs in the winter or air conditioning costs in the summer.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the contract as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the acceptance of donation from Great Basin College to Lander County of a modular building located at 835 North 2nd Street, Battle Mountain, Nevada, and authorize the county manager to sign. Do you have discussion?
Good morning. I'm Becky Coleman. I'm the director for Great Basin College for Lander County, Humboldt County, and Pershing County. I just wanted to first thank Lander County for your wonderful partnership over many, many years with allowing us to rent space from you. The shape of higher education has changed a lot over the years, and the majority of our students are online students for this area. And so thanks to a gift from AT&T Nevada, we were able to set up a really wonderful classroom space at the Lander County School District for our dual enrollment students, who are the primary students that need in-person services. And so, as you know, we have given notice to vacate the property. Over the years, the knowledge that the portable building that's also on that property was actually purchased by GBC many years ago was kind of lost in translation. And as we begun this process, we discovered that it was something that we had purchased many years ago. And we would like to donate that to the county versus trying to move it and relocate it somewhere else.
So have we had somebody have you guys looked through the building and know what we're getting, or?
Yeah, we
It's gonna
actually,
be a maintenance nightmare, is it?
no, we've actually even budgeted to put new carpet and things like that in it in this last budget, so we've been maintaining it as if it's our own.
Okay. Any other discussion? Public comment? Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is for discussion and possible action to approve or disapprove grant funding for the Elko Veterinary Clinic in the amount of $5,000 to $10,000 to spay and neuter feral cats in Battle Mountain and Austin. Do we have any discussion? Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Good morning, Jennifer Jonas for the record. I have a short presentation, if I might provide you. I did not have time, I apologize to get it ahead of time. Give me just 1 moment to pull that up.
So commissioners, while we're waiting, and I'm not taking a shot across your bow, Miss Jennifer, but I just want to remind everybody from last meeting, and just for my staff and myself on what direction we should head as far as continuing to put these grant requests on the agenda. At the last meeting, I think Commissioner Sparks said, hey, we have it was EMS, a contract for EMS or something that was in front of us, said that, we have a budget process to go forward with these things, and that's where we should be seeing them. So would the commission like to continue seeing these in front of you, or how would you like us to address them? It could be an item that we add to a future agenda if you guys would like, but I just want to make sure that I'm not putting you guys in a hard spot, and that you aren't putting us in a hard spot, or that we're setting anybody up for failure when they come to present in front of us.
And God, this is such a double-edged sword because of that issue. If it's something because I'm sure more than likely she didn't even realize that it would have been something that would have been brought in forefront of the budget, because it's not an organization, so to speak. It's her as an individual trying to help do something to help these spay and neuter these cats for the county. So I don't know what the answer is to that, because she's not an organization herself that.
Yes, and that's why this one is on the agenda, but I wanted to make sure, that's why I didn't postpone Ms. Jonas and say, hey, we have something here that we probably should make a future agenda item. This one kind of is a benefit, and the community has spoken pretty loudly on the feral cat problem, and Ms. Jonas has done a great job on her own time to serve our community with something that's been great. But I just want that to be in all of our minds, and then you guys can direct us. We'll go whatever direction you guys would like.
In the budget hearing, we actually had a section for spaying and neutering.
But that's a separate
one through the sheriff's office.
This is a mass
Right.
spay and neuter program. I don't want to use program because it makes it sound like it's an organization, and it's her and a handful of other people taking their own time going out and catching these cats and getting them spayed and neutered. And because I want to give a little bit of background with Jennifer, as that she had came to me when I was at Chamber and was discussing this issue. And she came to me, I believe, as a commissioner, but one of the issues was that there was, in one of the buildings, there was somebody that was basically stomping the heads in the cats, and she was just horrified. Yes, she was horrified, and came to me just and said, what do I do? And so I sent her to the commission, because I didn't shoot, and that's kind of where we started on this, because they were literally just truly just stomping the heads of the cats. And so, and I'm not trying to be so graphic, but I wanna say it is for what it is. And so I was the one who directed her to come and try to get these cats in these big amounts to try to do something for this problem, because it is such a problem. And so I don't wanna make her let the weight sit on her back, it
For
was
sure.
me. And so I don't know what the answer is, other than trying to have this as part of our budget that we have, that extended other than just the spay and neuter tickets, because her and the small little group of people are trying to trap these cats so they aren't destroyed so horribly. So that's it, kind of it in a nutshell, guys. I don't know what else, and tell me if I'm correct or not, Jennifer. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's see your presentation. I have a couple comments, but.
Okay, so as Commissioner Ancho talked about, we did do TNR clinics last year. Over the last year, we got 91 cats spayed or neutered. Our first clinic we did in August of 2023 with cooperation from the sheriff and the sheriff's office and the fire department. We used the ambulance bays and performed a clinic there. We had 4 of us that volunteered. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday ordeal. It was long hours, and but we were able to fix quite a few cats. Pretty much every cat that we can fix stops in the cycle over 1,000 more cats from being born. It also, as far as being able to spay, or excuse me, to neuter, if we can stop with our male cats and get them neutered, we're going to eliminate the fighting behaviors, the spray problems associated with the odors and issues that we hear, where you hear cats fighting in the middle of the night. A lot of that is our male cats fighting over females in heat. So if we can stop that, it eliminates a lot of the community issues that we have associated with that. The top 2 pictures in there are 2 different cats that we trapped as kittens or small cats, and we were able to socialize and get those 2 adopted out from that in December. In February, we were able to trap 2 cats. My husband, for any of you who know him, is a good sport. On Valentine's night, he went with me to trap some cats, and that's what we did for Valentine's Day. Both of those are fixed in the adoption pool, so they were not returned to where they were trapped from our place. And as recently as 2 weeks ago, I trapped 4 kittens and have them being socialized so that we can get them fixed, vaccinated, and adopted out as well. So our program isn't just, when we're trying to put this together and trying to present this, it's not just that we want to fix the cats and send them back, but we're trying to get any of them that can be rehomed to get them off of the street and into a regular home. I know at the last meeting I was able to listen to a little bit of that online. Someone had brought up, one of the commissioners I believe had brought up to check and see what locations closer to us are doing, what Elko's doing, what Winnemucca is doing. There's a lot of that going on. Elko County has a feral cat project that they're doing the same thing, trying to trap, neuter, and vaccinate and return them to community caretakers. As long as we can get them trapped and get them spayed or neutered, we're gonna substantially reduce that population. And as natural progression, we're gonna have less and less cats. It's just at this point, we have so many because the problem has gone along unabated for quite some time. I am not even a cat person. I am a dog person. And for those of you who don't know my background, Kathy does because we worked together a very long time ago. I spent 23 years in law enforcement. Part of that I spent going to calls for service of animal abuse, and there are some really ugly people out there that if they have the opportunity to torture cats specifically, you would be surprised at the people that will do that, and you would look at them and never think that that's something that they would do. So one of my concerns with the conversations that were had last time is that if we're giving community members free rein to trap cats and do as they will, we're gonna have some ugly animal issues that we're probably not aware of. So that's a concern for me as not only as a citizen, but as a former law enforcement officer, that that's a felony. And I really don't want us as a community sending the message that that's acceptable, or that that's okay behavior, because they're not an owned cat, because they're a feral cat.
Yeah, and she's absolutely right. The people that you would not ever expect to do those kind of horrific things that do just it was unbelievable what she had said. And so part of when she says to get the cat so they can be socialized, she has turned her garage, you guys, basically into this big cat house with little climbing things. So, and she is a dog person, but she is very humane. And so they can try to get these cats so they can be given out as pets. And so it's just, I appreciate you so much for what you are trying to do, and it is such, the horrificness. So I don't know if how we do this to where it's not done as a grant, that it's something the county does to try to take care of since it has just gone with spay and neuter. And most of the spay and neuter tickets, guys, that are being given out are given out to cat owners that at their homes, that they're not taking care of, the spay and neuter ones. And so this is an entirely different animal. And so I so appreciate what you have done.
That's another issue that I have come across over the last 8 months, is that as we're trying to work on the feral cats to get them where we can trap them, and a whole nother issue is you can't leave traps unsupervised, because if you get a cat in there that's trapped and someone comes upon it, they're completely defenseless in a trap. But just like over the last couple of weeks, a place where I've been trying to trap the last 3 cats, a new cat has shown up. It's a male cat, he's intact, and he is completely friendly with me. So I know he's someone's cat. Whether he's dumped or they just let him out or whatever the circumstances may be, we have to, as well as trying to do something like this, we have to try and educate our public that we need them to either contain their cat if it's not spayed or neutered, or that it needs to be fixed. Because letting a cat out that's a friendly cat, they're gonna roam the neighborhood and find whatever female they can, if there's a female in heat, within a 2-mile radius. And that just contributes to the problem. So where I feel like we've made forward steps in that area, I just feel like I took 2 steps back, because he's gonna have to be fixed. So part of, because I'm not the cat person, I found there's multiple places on the internet if you search for anything about spay, neuter, or TNR programs. And because I've made a lot of mistakes while I'm trapping or working with the cats, I've been bit, I've been scratched. They've accidentally gotten out of the trap in my garage where I've had to search for them amongst everything. I'm sure if I had pictures or videos, it would be quite entertaining to someone else. So one of the places that I have gotten information from, they actually are certified by the Animal Control Officers Association, or Animal Control body, as a true certification to trap. So I've taken 2 of their classes on my own time on Saturdays to become better prepared to do TNR, and it's actually been really good for great ideas of things to do. But I just want you to note here on the left-hand side, where this talks about decades of killing stray cats has not worked. When cats are removed, others move in to take their place. They call that the vacuum effect. It's been proven multiple times over. They've done studies on it. There's scientific studies that spay, neuter, and vaccinate for feral cats is our way to contain this population. If we think that trapping them and killing them, there's gonna be more, and there's gonna be more. Right now, I've had probably 4 folks contact me over the last 3 weeks and say that they have litters of kittens around their house, in their backyard, down the street, in their shed, because it's stray cats having kittens. So right now, just off the top of my head, I know that there's 48 new kittens that we have to deal with, that we're going to need to see if we can get into some kind of adoption or foster or something so that they don't become feral cats and further increase our cat population that we have to deal with.
So any suggestions?
This is a letter of support from one of the veterinarians at Elko Vet Clinic. They have been fantastic to work with. I can't even begin to express how wonderful they have been, not only in coming over here to help put together the clinics with us and providing staff, but their staff members actually volunteered on their day off to come over here and work with us. They're not getting paid for it. And they're donating the equipment, the vaccinations. They have been wonderful to work with. As well as if I call them and say, hey, I have two cats that I just trapped last night, can I drop them off in the morning? That is sometimes been a problem for me because I work a full-time job Monday through Thursday, and Monday through Friday are my only days that I can take ferals in to get spayed or neutered. So that's been challenging, but for me that's going to change. I am going to be taking a new job where I will be working in Elko 5 days a week, so I will be able to take them over with me and drop them off. I've already spoken with the practice manager about that, and that's going to alleviate a lot of that issue, and I'll be able to get more, especially of our harder to trap ones. The last year when I took we trapped 9 cats out of the Lemaire building, and I was able to find a gal in Elko that was willing to take the colony, and she kept all of them. So we removed them from the building and kept them. There are still 3 that are extremely afraid of people, and I've been working on getting them to eat in a trap so that we can get them trapped in the next couple of weeks after I came here. So that we can get that. I've been working with Paula Tamara to get that taken care of. I know that's been an issue that we've had cats there for a long time. Part of the problem of trying to remove them is that whole thing about more coming in. And then this is another letter from the practice manager at at Elko Veterinary Clinic. In addition to Elko Veterinary Clinic, Endless Possibilities is a rescue, and they've been, one of their primary founders is Dr. Tess Morgan. She's one of the vets that was formerly at Elko practice, and she's gone out on her own because she's working on building the Endless Possibilities rescue up. What they're looking at doing is they're looking at getting funding from several of the mines to be able to have a mobile spay-neuter clinic, to be able to take that through the communities in I-80 along the corridor. Additionally, I had talked with Mr. Ramos, the county manager, about being able to possibly purchase some equipment from a retiring vet out of Urington so that we could use it here in Lander County at our shelter, so as some permanent equipment where we could spay and neuter not only cats but dogs as we're adopting them out. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that all of our animals in the community should be spayed and neutered to prevent unwanted litters of either kind of animal. And right now we don't have that accessibility for animals that are adopted out. Folks are, unless we can get a vet to come in and do a clinic, folks are having to take their animals out of town, which is a burden on some of our residents that maybe can't take them out or get them out during the week when they could get them spayed or neutered. So this is just a little bit more information when I was talking about the vacuum effect. Removing the cats doesn't work for us. It just creates that absence of cats, and more cats from somewhere else will move in. It's extremely difficult to try and get all of them. From trapping them, I am really aware of that. And this just is a little more information. Once I'm able to get this printed, I will send it electronically as well. But some more information about TNR works to reduce the population. Cats in unowned cats or unhomed cats, they don't have as long of a lifespan as our normal house cats do for obvious reasons. But if we can vaccinate them to keep them from getting a sickness that's going to spread and cause disease, they live fairly short but quiet lives if we can get them spayed, neutered, where we're not having litter after litter of kittens. Cats can start having litters or are able to go into heat at 4 months. So if you think of a cat 4 months old having 3 litters every single year, between 3 to 8 kittens, every single cat, we're looking at a horrific number. So I just wanted to provide some information in a short presentation and talk about how we can help this. As a community member, I mean, and being retired from law enforcement, obviously that's, you know, community service is something that I value and that I believe in, and that's why I'm here. So, with that.
So I wanted to your credit to, so she also pays for, when there's no funding, she's paying for a lot of spay and neuters out of her own pocket because she believes in it so much. And so I don't know how we can do it to make sure that these funds are covered where it's not considered under a grant. I'm not sure how to do that, Bert. It's something that we just do every year to get a handle on these cats.
Yeah, and I'm not passing the buck here, but sorry, Ron Robert. The animal control side of life kind of falls on them guys. We'll support what we can, and this goes back to the, you know, us putting the signs up that say, please don't feed the cats. I don't know if anybody's taken a walk along. If you go over to the rec center and directly across the street, walk down the sidewalk there, and you'll get a whole new perspective on why it's such a problem. There's cat food that is thrown all over the ground. There are bowls of milk that are put out, and we are just attracting them to that place. So if we can stop feeding them there, Ms. Jonas's trapping program will probably be much more effective because they will actually walk into the trap. But how are you storing them? Do you have, and a couple of quick questions is, you know, what kind of cages or pens do you have set up to store? I can't imagine you guys caught 91 cats in one weekend. You probably had to hold them.
Cumulative, that was not over a weekend. Let me see.
And then I never did get what the neighboring communities are doing. I missed that part. Sorry.
They're doing, like Elko and Winnemucca are doing the same thing. Elko has their feral cat program. And there's several trapping groups over there that I've talked to about, you know, how are you guys doing it? What are you doing? Winnemucca has, Teddy Swecker has a group, and there's, it's called Kitty Cat Catchers. That's a group out of Winnemucca also that's been working on spay neuter, and, you know, for a TNR program.
Okay.
So when we trap them, let me go back here. So this picture, oh, you can't see my cursor. So the lower right picture with all of those covers, those are all traps. So we'll trap them. Inside of the trap, we're able to use another device to section off the trap so that we can anesthetize them, and then they're removed from the trap because most of them are absolutely terrified when they're in the trap. So we anesthetize them, take them out, they're vaccinated, their ears tipped, have their surgery. If we have enough cat carriers, I've been collecting cat carriers from yard sales, online, auctions, you name it, dog kennels. So what we'll do is after they're done with their surgery, we keep them from anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, depending on if it's a male or female. And then they're returned to their area. If removing a cat from where they came from, their colony area, if you take them and say, oh, well, we're gonna move them, I know of people who have taken stray cats that they catch around their place, and they take them to the fairgrounds. Well, the cat is going to try to find its way back to wherever it came from, and it'll die trying to get there. They won't, if we try and, without proper relocation, which is like a 4 to 6 week process of being contained somewhere, they won't stay where you take them and drop them off. So I feel like there's a lot of maybe misinformation or just lacking information from some folks that in the answers that they think that they have or that they come up with, that if we can work together as a community, I think there's a lot that we can get accomplished. I know one of the areas that we tried to work with last year was Austin, and I didn't know until I asked when I saw the picture missing that Patsy wasn't there anymore. I had reached out to her with an email to see how we could coordinate with her because we had talked about Austin as an area that we needed to concentrate on as well. So that would be something that we should work on.
Like I said, I had a lot to say.
Absolutely.
We have a couple people in Austin that are trapping them right now, and they take them over to the Eureka Vet. What is your Elko Vet charging?
I want to say it's excuse me, and let me grab my folder out instead of
Okay, while she's looking at that. There's a gal over in Eureka, her name is Cindy Butel, and she has been extremely active in cats. And she has the Eureka Vet over there doing a lot of surgeries for her, and she has been getting donations from the mines. They pretty much duck now when she comes, but she's gotten quite a bit of money from the mines, and there's a couple other nonprofit organizations that she works with, and if you set it up as a nonprofit, you can get these good donations.
And that's part of the issue is, I'm not a nonprofit.
Right.
Endless Possibilities with Dr. Morgan, since we've been working with them, we've been doing a lot of work in Battle Mountain for food and adoptions.
Yeah, see, and that's what Cindy's been doing too.
They have actually reached out I had them reach out to Marigold for a donation, and they've put in with I-80 and Nevada Gold Mines.
Yeah.
So we're looking at other funding opportunities, obviously. If this is something that I would need to, for next year's budget session, come back and do something with, I would be more than happy to do that. I'm familiar with budgeting and budgeted requests from working with the counties for so long. So I would put that out there that I wouldn't have a problem with trying to do that. But as far as for me being a 501c3 to go through all of that, that would be a little bit out of my
Right.
my bandwidth
I'm just saying
at
that's
this
what
point.
Cindy did, and she has qualified for a lot. But Austin does definitely have a feral cat problem, just like everybody else does. And Darla from the Sheriff's Office and Carolyn Mastretti have both been really hard at it, trying to do what they can do. Darla pays for a lot of it. I don't know if she gets some of it from the Sheriff's Office or if she's paying for it out of her own pocket, but they've hauled several off and done different things with them. And they all go over to Eureka, so it'd be nice if we could do something with maybe the Eureka Clinic.
So Elko Veterinary Clinic is $109 for
Yeah, see,
the
that's
exam,
cheap.
the spay neuter, all of the surgery, the ear notching, the rabies vaccine.
That's expensive.
Yeah, that's cheap, because I think Eureka charges $200.
Yeah, they've been very gracious with us, like I said.
Yeah, and you actually have, they come over here and set up a free clinic?
No, they billed us for the services, through the last funding that we got. And
if
we
you
just
got the
did it as a
equipment-
per cat thing.
If you got the equipment out at the shelter, then they would come over and do it and give even a more discounted rate, or, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Morgan is actually looking, last time we spoke about it, that it would be like about $50 per animal.
Wow.
I mean, it's an amazing, especially when we look at, a spay neuter voucher is $150 if we're doing a spay.
Right.
And pretty much in every single case that I can think of, it's always above $150. You have to pay a little more. If you want to get the rabies vaccine, you have to pay a little more than that. And so $109 or $50 is even better for
You're
us.
just doing rabies, you're not doing parvo?
What's that?
You're just doing the rabies, you're not doing parvo?
Initially, we were just doing the rabies. We've talked about adding the parvo just because I have had to take 3 cats in to be euthanized because of
Yeah,
that.
parvo's brutal.
And then it spreads like wildfire
Yeah.
through every other cat that it comes into contact with.
Yeah.
So Robert,
Robert's like, I knew this was coming.
Is this something that where you can work with her to where we can get this type of thing worked in with your budget, since you already do have the other spay and neuter ticket, that this could be something separate that we could work in to make it easier to, so we have, this confined under your budget?
Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. If that's the Commission's will, we certainly could. We've already got this brand new program line. If the Commission chooses to increase that, we can alter our policy that would allow us to work with Jennifer and provide some extra services.
Jennifer and whoever else.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do we do that, Bert, bring that back, or do we wait till we do our final budget, or where do we do that to where we can add funds into his budget for this?
We can do that in the final budget.
Okay.
Mhm.
That'll work. All right.
And, sorry, Jen, I'm going back through our email chain here on the purchasing of equipment. And so I re-forwarded that to Lakin and Sierra. I agreed to buy the equipment so we would have it on hand. And we just never did end up following through with it. I think we were waiting on a W-9 is what it seems like in this email chain. But either way, we will follow up and make sure that we have everything together so we can get that equipment purchased. As long as Robert and them are good with storing it. If not, we can put it in a Connex box somewhere.
First I've heard of it, so I need to know what it is so I know where to make space for it.
You got it. And like I say, if not, we can put it in a Connex box for when they come over to do their program. We can, open that up and make it available. But we'll get you a list.
Thank you. So,
Okay. So, just to clarify, what are we looking at now?
so when we do our next, if I'm not out of line, when we do our final budget, we can add this into his line item to cover that amount of money for you. And then you will just work with them, cause we'll just put it into their budget.
Okay, what are we looking for a timeline? Because
Well, it can't be until July anyway, cause it's for July's budget. That, is she asking for that now, or?
well, that's what I'm asking for now.
Now, okay, so. that
If
would
there
have
was
to be
any way
something
possible we could
for
look at that.
Macon, and that, I don't know, that part I can't answer.
We'd have to ask Lakin.
Well, we do have funds. It's not we can take it out of our emergency project line if that was the commission's wish to move forward with it this year. I mean, we have funding to make something happen. I just need to know to what level the commission wants to fund it, and we can certainly get it. Or if you guys would like to fund a certain amount of it now and then put 5 or 10,000, whatever the commission wishes, into Robert's line item as an addition for after July 1. We just need the clarification on them two things.
Robert Wood for the Sheriff's Office, and I was going to suggest the same thing. We've still got some money in our feral cat line that we can work with, and the limitation we put on the amounts is an internal policy limitation to allow as much as we can be used by different people. So we can adjust some of that, but if the commission wants to authorize another line until July 1st and then refund, then we can code, still work the same process and then code that to that line as well.
So for this year, do you think it would be out of line, Robert, would 5,000 work with what you have left in your line, or?
I think because we don't have that long left in this year, I mean, we've got less than 2 months, I think that would work fine.
Okay.
And
So
then
you're gonna
if
give 5,000 now, and then you wanna add,
The next budget will add it in automatically for up to 10,000 into his budget. For our next budget, be run out of his department.
So we would, my understanding is we would just put the additional 10,000 in Robert's budget, and then Robert would then be going through the same process he's going through now.
yeah.
So I think you would just get with Robert.
Okay, so just to clarify, would we be then still sending the money to Elko Veterinary Clinic, and then we're able to take in as many cats as we need, or having them come here?
talk out offline and we'll kind of work out a process.
Okay, because
What
that has
works the
worked,
best.
that has worked really well for us.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, so we also need to know so that whatever Darla and Carolyn are doing down in Austin, up in Austin, we can figure out whether they bring them here or if they're going over to Eureka Vet or whatever their process is.
Were you working with the people in Austin with the Austin cats? Are you doing anything with Austin?
We had not done anything with Austin because I didn't hear back when Patsy was
Oh,
sick, Ariel.
Yeah.
so then they can reach out to you and then you
Yeah.
can work with Robert.
Okay, what is your number?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Not,
Okay.
not inside
So
your
everybody
please.
doesn't call you?
So do I make the motion to add for this fiscal year the 5,000 to the sheriff's office animal control budget or not?
Or
Because
do we
it's
have
not
to do
done
it-
that way.
Do we have to
It'll be on
agendize
the
it?
next meeting for, in the budget.
Oh, say, I didn't hear you. Liz.
Yeah, we'd have to put it on, for our, in the next meeting for the final budget as one more item for you guys to approve during that meeting.
I know, but for this year,
Just talk
I'm
about this
talking
year.
for this year.
Yeah, and for this year, Robert could just forward anything that exceeds his budget over to me and I would pay for it out
Okay.
of mine.
And that.
And
then
we've
you
done
guys-
that.
Up to a certain amount.
Okay, so that's, you work with Robert with that.
So does Elko or Winnemucca in their areas, does anybody set like a quota? I mean, if you go to the rec center, you go to overtime, Chevron, that area, there is cats everywhere. You go over there some nights, there's 4 dead cats on the road. We talk situations of abuse and people doing it wrong. I mean, I see your pyramid, I've looked at it, cause you look at stuff, it's come up a huge community concern. That's kind of why I see it's on here, is they put the funds forward to take care of it. But at a certain point, if that area, somebody believes, is there a group that can take a look at it and say, hey, this area only needs 10 cats, but we're gonna release back the 25 we trapped. Where in the point of this, in reality, nobody wants to hear the word, is where do we euthanize numbers to control numbers? I realize some will come in, but if you take 25 out, it's not guaranteed that 25 are coming back. It's a word nobody wants to hear, but, I mean, we do it with big game and small game and everything else. I mean, the reality is we don't.
Where
we don't
are
need to
you
release-
finding that something says that euthanizing cats is, it doesn't work? I mean, they come back.
Well, how are they coming back if most of the populations, if we're focused on spay neutering?
Right.
I mean,
That's
where's
the key to that. is
nobody?
spay.
I'm sure there's data out there. I mean, groups are going to present what their beliefs are, but at a certain point, we don't need all the cats over at between the rec center and everything else, so we neuter them and spay them and just return them right back to that area because nobody.
No, we're
you're only
not.
going to adopt so many cats.
Right, we are working on trying to get as many of them socialized and adopted if we can get that. There's some of them that are just not gonna be people friendly.
So I have a question. How does it work? So you'd said earlier that one male cat showed back up. Because I haven't done any research into this, I'm just trying to understand. How many females can one male breed? So if you do all this wonderful work, right, and one male gets back out, but there's some, like, can one male,
Impregnate every female within a 2-mile radius?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to get these guys fixed.
So, I mean, to me, it seems like it's almost it's a huge community outreach thing too, because if you have 1 or 2 people that have their house cat that's at home at night and they love it, and then, it runs off during the day, but it's never been spayed, then we really never get ahead of the program if we don't have the community on board with us.
And that's why I said it's a community information or community learning as well, that we encourage our folks that have cats that are their house cats to get them spayed or neutered. It really is an educational part of that as well. And that's where in talking about the shelter being able to, as they're adopting out dogs, or as people have, we have a lot of people with cats in town. If we could get a lot of those done in a quick manner where they can just drop them off at the shelter in the morning and they come and pick them up that afternoon.
At a reasonable rate, absolutely. Now, I know it cost me, $200 and some to get my dog spayed.
And the bad thing about the euthanizing of the cats is that it has to be an organization that does that. you will not find the groups like this that will do that, or that will euthanize these animals, because the reason why they're spaying and neutering is because they don't want to see the animal killed, and especially their head stomped on, and I'm not trying to be disgusting.
Run over by a car?
Or, I know, and I understand, but then you go on the feasible side, you can't have animal control do it because you have 20 cats to one dog that you're trying to adopt. So there's no right answer. But if you make it a free-for-all, you would be amazed even, and I understand that, you don't want to run over, but still, the horrific things that some people have done with these cats is just, it's, almost goes on the level of sadistic. And so it's very sad. And all of us, now I've never been a cat owner, but the people who don't take care of their animals are the ones that hold the responsibility, but we hold the bag to try to fix it the best that we can. Because I also don't want to see an animal tortured, because it's just beyond my comprehension. But does that happen? And does it happen here? Yes, it does, and sadly enough. So there's just no right answer. This is the best I think that we can do with what we have.
And Commissioner Chop, to come back to your question, I don't have all those answers. I am learning this as I'm going along. I'm trying to do the best that we can. Haley Kane is here today. She has been amazing in trying to help and learn, and we're trying to do what we can and work with the vet in Elko and work with Dr. Morgan and Endless Possibilities. There's other folks in the community that have stepped up and said that they would love to help. Last October, I reached out to the vet tech teacher at the high school, and she thought that would be like if we coordinated and she talked with the administration to have the vet tech kids come and help, so that they're learning some animal science and some animal welfare. It could be a learning thing for all of us. I understand that there are so many cats. There's days that I'm overwhelmed by it because I don't know what to do. There's so much to do, and just I don't even know what to say to a lot of it, because there are so many, and the only thing I could do is try to help stop what we have. That there's several cats that we need to catch now before they have kittens. Whether people agree or disagree with that line of thinking, if it's 6 to 8 more cats that we stop from being born,
I'm not in disagreement. I can see your frustration.
Yeah.
It's just, my concern is, or my issue is, we're almost at, I believe we're at the point of the population is too big to, it's, to me, we're not gonna get control of it without discussing and saying, this is what,
like I said, they're going
what
to,
it is.
whether it's accidents or people or disease or coyotes or, they get injured and infected and die. Those are all realities of feral cat life or community cat life.
Try to wipe the population out of this.
What's that?
To me, I see a number, to see what's in the area, what we trap, focus on an area. Like I said, we discussed if we could find somebody that does a licensed federal trapper or whatever to come in and see what they trap in this area and how many, and say, okay, we'll spay it. We don't pay for the spay and neuter, but if you catch 50 cats, is there a number to look at our data to say 25 can be successfully released back, or some, if they're good, they can go to the homes or that. But like I said, some of the population might, I think, to get control of it, so you can control it and have volunteers can have a life. That's just my opinion. Is I think some of it needs to be the word that nobody wants to hear about. Because the disease is in it, big game and everything. Your whitetail get blue tongue, chronic wasting disease. Mother Nature does control its own population.
And I almost feel, and this is another me not being educated, but by us vaccinating them and not allowing disease to take over, when you do get an overpopulation like this, it almost encourages the problem. But is that a misstatement or a misunderstanding?
I feel like that would be a misstatement. I wish that Dr. Morgan was able to be here today. She had some surgery scheduled at the clinic where she couldn't attend. But vaccination helps them so that they are healthy as far as not spreading disease. Because the disease doesn't just stay within the cat population. You know, it spreads to
Parvo,
other
yeah,
animals.
Those spread throughout dogs, yeah.
Yes, but I mean, that's why we
Cats
vaccinate
bite.
our dogs, right? Is we don't want our puppy to die, so we vaccinate them with the parvo vaccine. So when you do that, now you've just encouraged longer life of a problem you already have. So Mother Nature really isn't even intervening either. We're almost compounding. And I'm not trying to be combative or
No.
but I also see like I said, anybody that thinks we're being humane needs to walk down that sidewalk and look and see the feces and everything else and the kittens with one eyes and all the other things that are going on. There's a level of inhumaneness that comes with that, and when we see that in, you know, to Commissioner Chop's point, when NDOW sees that in big game, they come in and they issue more tags, or they have other kind of avenues of bringing them populations back into check, so some of them issues aren't there. And I'm just wondering if we don't kind of incorporate both ends of this. Instead of, it's easy for everybody to get caught up on the emotions, but to get into the science, that's where we probably do need the doctor here, and maybe even NDOW with some of their science of managing animals, feral or not. You know, what is probably the best answer, and what would fit us, because what's going on over there isn't super humane. You know, it's kind of sad, and it encourages inhumane activity when you go over there and you park at the rec center and roll your truck window down and you come back out and a cat's pissed in your truck.
Yep.
It does not encourage me to be nice to the next cat I see, and is super frustrating. So there's, you know, it's a tough one to deal with, but there's got to be something that brings everything kind of back in balance. And I think that having, you know, maybe some research from NDOW and what they have, the vets on board to look at this, and then getting out to the community to try to bring more of them people in. But it's a pretty bad problem over there. Like, say you go over there and you literally leave your window down at night over there in the rec center parking lot and come back out in 2 hours and you'll have a new special scent in your car. And
Well, Bert, I understand that part of it. I mean, where I live I live a mile out of town. I ended up with 2 cats because somebody dumped them out there. And I totally get it, and we deal with that. I know there's folks that live down on Palomino that deal with that. People dump their cats out there. It's a problem all over.
And it's not even just out there, like the parvo part of it, Bert, because they transfer it to dogs too. And if they don't have parvo shots, like those cats jump into yards. And to give a personal on that, I had a lab that I bought. Loved the dog, was still waiting to get its second shot of parvo. Cat had jumped in the yard and made a cat mess in my daughter's sandbox. My dog got parvo from the cat. And so parvo can be spread from dogs to cats. So if nothing else, parvo is very important so our dogs don't get it as well, our puppies, because it killed my dog within 3 days. And so, and there's no way a dog there'd been any other animals in my backyard because it was fenced all the way around. But there was cat feces in my daughter's sandbox, so.
On the average, when you're trapping these cats, how many of them actually have to be euthanized due to disease or infections and illnesses?
Out of the ones that we've done, none.
None.
The ones that I took in to get euthanized were separate from the TNR clinics. They were on, cats that were out.
And how many?
What's that?
How many?
3.
Just 3? So you're not trapping over there in the area around the rec center at all then?
Yes, we are.
Are you? So you're just not catching the sick kitties?
I know last year there was some ones that were sick. And, that's where we get into the feeding issues.
But the dumpsters are there too.
What's that?
I mean, you walk out back of the overtime and the dumpster moves. I mean, it ain't just cat food, they have to dump their trash. And
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
The lids get built up, that's hard on the businesses. They can't pay to dump twice a week. That's an additional cost to them. I mean, it's not just people feeding them. I mean, you got Chevron, you got overtime, you got the rec center. I mean, people throw food in the garbage can. That we're not going to stop.
How do you decide whether they're going to be they have to be totally healthy before you have them spayed and neutered, or do you take some of them in that have like an infected eye or something and then?
No, if they have something wrong, either Dr. Morgan or Dr. Warner, they address if they have a laceration or something like that. They still get spayed or neutered.
Okay.
I support. I mean, we need funding for it. We need to continue the program. If we decide to move it to the sheriffs and control it, or do that until we can get money budgeted to it. If we got it, I think it's fine, but I do think we have to look at some other possibilities.
Does anybody else have opinions or questions?
Arthur Ayton for the record. I agree with Jennifer. If we don't start at some point on this program, you're not going to get anywhere. The most humane way to start this program would be through a spay and neuter program. If that is not succeeding in our goals, then we can advance there. It's a complicated program, or a complicated problem. It needs a program with many steps to get the problem sorted. So if you start somewhere, you're on the path of getting something done. If our first step doesn't work, then we can take another step. We can move to euthanization or a volume of animals per acre or per city block type plan. But you need to start with something. And a neutering and spaying program is very easy to sell to our community, and it is a very kind way to begin the process of controlling the cat population without getting into a bunch of additional problems. So I would recommend that the county begin by endorsing the spay-neuter program, and let's see if that's effective. If that fails to solve a problem, then we can come back and seek an additional answer or a more significant solution.
Robert, we have certificates. I mean, we've got the program in place, right? You come and get a certificate, go get your cat or dog spayed or neutered. I mean, we have steps. It's not like we're starting from scratch.
Correct. We have both of those programs for cats and dogs. This is certainly an enhancement to the cat program, and it, in my opinion, would be necessary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. We can go ahead and go that way then.
Yeah, transfer so much money, or
Well,
do like we talked about with,
yeah, he can just she can
work with, and Bert can transfer more.
So it's a motion to move it?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we approve grant funding to be moved, or money to be budgeted over to animal control for
the funding,
conjunction use, the funding necessary not to exceed $10,000.
the funding's already there.
Oh, is it?
That's-
You said
Yes,
five.
they said is we don't have to, if I'm right, Bert, tell me
okay.
if I'm correct.
No,
The money's already there, we're
Okay.
not having to approve this item here, because she's gonna work with Robert with what they have, and then, am I right?
We can do this a lot of different ways, but
Okay,
To go 10,000.
Well, for the finish off this year,
Yeah,
I just go
tell us
five.
what you want
Go
us
five
to
for
do.
this year,
Yeah.
okay?
Robert Quick for the Sheriff's Office. So we will expend the funds we have in our current budget. Anything over that, up to $5,000 is my understanding, then I'll forward to Bert for this fiscal year.
Okay.
Perfect.
At
Yes.
the next commission meeting during the final budget, you
Yes.
will address whether you want to increase that line item in our budget to cover costs and expenses for the following fiscal year.
Correct, yes, okay,
Okay.
that works.
So we don't have to do that.
No, we don't.
No motion.
Very good,
No
thank you.
action.
Thank you. And
Okay.
thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate your time.
Okay, next up is correspondence, reports, future agenda items. I'd like to, is it direction, Bert, for Road and Bridge to look at? I like the bicycle thing. I think it's something that we can figure into. Especially, I not only think like the Hilltop residential area, but on all the new development on the opposite side of the golf course too. You know,
Bike
over in that
paths?
area, I do, so when I go out, I see kids in that, so especially in the new roads out there, maybe to see and what quotes or bike path or whatever for some of them as the new developments come in, or does it have to be an agenda item? Or
No, we can
just
put
get
something on the
direction
agenda,
to-
and is what we'll do is we'll try to put like a phased project together, if that works for you guys, starting on kind of these thoroughfares that were addressed, and then progressing it down and try to get some sort of phased project put together.
That's a good idea.
Would that work?
And Dee, on the main road coming through Austin, is there a bike path? Is there a bike?
No,
So that might be something
That's
that we.
honestly, nobody really rides bikes in Austin because of the hills. If they do ride bikes, they go
Well,
down.
they ride downhill, not uphill.
Yeah, they're one-way bikes. They only go one way.
So I get electric. Okay.
Yeah. But so they normally go down
yes,
below, but
please.
thank you.
Okay.
Is this something you guys want for next year's budget?
By the time we probably look at everything, it's probably looking at, don't you think? I mean, Donnie, if we start looking at this, and Aaron, we're probably looking realistically for road changes in that for next year's, but to start next spring, right? I don't think we should, do you?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll get together, me, Donnie, Aaron, and we'll put together a plan, and then also kind of review the projects that we currently have to not try to explode our budget any further than we have, and maybe we'll discuss that in the final budget with you guys to see if we can do some exchange.
All right. Any updates on our video for Austin?
I mean, the
Getting
system?
it- yeah,
I do
getting it
believe
set
the
up.
system's been ordered.
Okay, because as I
Right.
say, Laura told me already that, you know, it can come out of her technology funds.
We already took care of all that. We've already
Okay.
ordered everything.
Would you guys like an update on that in the next meeting?
Yes, and I don't know about you, but when I did my meeting on the phone, it really sucked. We need to
But I
really
was on
figure
the
out.
power out, you guys were having the power outages
Yeah,
down here
that's
too on
part
the
of
last
the
one. The
new-
one before
that's all
that was
part of the-
good.
Because I thought that I would be able to come on and watch the video as the meeting was going on, even if I was on the phone.
Oh,
And
I
you
don't
can't
know
do
if
that.
that's part of the new system,
Yeah,
because when
but
you're
you
getting
can't-
on there, you're right here, and the only thing you're gonna see is me if I turn this camera on.
Right, and so, I don't know, like Fernley, when you go to the Fernley city council meetings, oh my gosh, the system they have is amazing. The city councilmen can sit at their own home and you can see them on the screen, and I think Eureka has the same thing.
Fernley?
Yeah, and
They're saying that there'll be a link on the Granicus site that you can log into and be able to watch it. You just
That'd
want
On
be
to
the
good.
legislate right now,
Yeah.
it just has your agenda, it'll be able to have a live stream.
okay, so that people could actually click in and look at it, because when you're doing it on the phone,
Yeah.
it's an absolute nightmare, you barely hear anything.
Okay, we'll put it on as an item and we'll
Yeah.
jump into the whole discussion and kind of
'Cause
dig
you
into
do a
it.
lot of them, and so I'm surprised you haven't already said something.
I did to Elizabeth, and the issue I was having is if people are too far away from that mic, I couldn't hear them.
Yeah.
But if they get close enough, I haven't had no problems. Last one was all the power outages, you guys were getting
Yeah,
turned off
that was
left and
terrible
right.
too, yeah.
Other than that, I haven't had no issues.
'Cause I don't plug
I don't
in
watch
very
the
many on the
videos, so-
phone, but, you know, when I did do that one, it was worse than listening to it in Austin. So, and you got the one from Mark, you were gonna put that on there, right? The train, the support for the,
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yes. I don't know that, I'll get with you on that after this,
Okay.
but I don't know that he forwarded me any other letter after I forwarded him our previous.
okay, I'll get after him, and get him moving on it, he's very ambitious. So,
So I think is what Commissioner Helmy was asking for is a letter of support going on for the Ely
Northern Nevada Railroad
Rail.
grant.
Yes. We've done one in the past, so I'll put that on there.
Because people coming across Highway 50 and from this area too, when they're going over to Ely to ride the train and do all that stuff, it brings a lot of tourism dollars through here.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This conference is no longer being recorded.